early morning, and we hope that we do justice to your time. And it this by the end of this session, you it will leave you with a lot of thoughts and a lot of things to ponder about. This is Abhishek Mehrotra, head of investment products, and we have two guests over the call. I will introduce both of them. We have Scott Brody. He is the Chief Compliance Officer at Vested. He is responsible for making sure that Vested plays by the rule of the US regulator for both the broker dealer and the registered investment advisor. He has been with Vested for almost 4 years, continue to learn new things about investing, especially from the Indian perspective. With over 25 years experience in US financial services and 20 years in compliance, Scott brings experience insight to the conversation today. Second guest, which you can see out there, the young man is Viram Shah. He is the CEO and co-founder at Vested. With Vested, he had the opportunity to create a new category of global investing in India. He's super excited to continue building innovation, investing solutions towards Vested mission of connecting India to the world, and is looking forward for sharing some learnings through his journey. So what I'll do is I'll quickly ask Scott to speak about it because that's what all our clients across India are looking forward to hear from you, Scott. Over to you.
Okay, hi. Thanks for the intro, Abhishek. Um, I'm hoping to give some insight today, talking about the U.S. stock market. And I appreciate everybody taking that time out of their schedule to attend this webinar. Um, can you? Thanks, Ram. Yeah, so the U.S. First, I'm going to start out with some fun facts. So the U.S. stock market is the biggest in the world, as you guys probably know. So the U.S. stock market does have about 50% of the global equity value. In fact, global participation in the U.S. market has increased over 80% in the last 20 years. Uh, so that's quite a bit. Eight of the world's top 10 companies are listed in the US. That includes the top six, and Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple are the top three right now. And then the New York Stock Exchange is the oldest and largest stock exchange in the world. In fact, Bank of New York has been, believe it or not, has been listed on the New York Stock Exchange since it opened in the 1780s. Also, NASDAQ is the world's largest electronic exchange and NASDAQ is the exchange that has historically tracked the tech companies. So your Apples, your Microsofts, Intel are all listed on the NASDAQ exchange. And so that's kind of where the action is, so to speak. New York Stock Exchange is sort of like your kind of buy and hold old companies, and the NASDAQ is sort of more buy and sell continuously type of exchange. Also, some of the good news is that the New York Stock Exchange has applied to extend their hours. I think it's currently around 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time, but they've applied with the SEC to extend it to 22 hours. And that's currently with the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission in the US, who's ready, once they rule on that, then we're probably looking at the next couple of months for that to go into effect. Um, so with that, next slide.
Yep. 1 second. It's stuck. Oh, there we go.
So thought I'd just talk a little bit about some of the biggest news and trends today, maybe from a US perspective. The Trump tariffs, the tariffs are affecting or will affect individual stocks, definitely. But I think for the overall US economy, I think the kind of panic and hysteria is probably a little overblown, in my opinion. This is my opinion only. Um, I just saw an article that said that the tariffs brought in year to date so far brought into to the US, $69 billion, which has been collected. That's a 78% increase from last year. So that's a good amount of money to come into the economy. I think what's the real fear with the tariffs is, and what has people so panicked is, that money, those prices are gonna eventually be passed on to the consumer. And the last 4 years, the U.S. economy had a lot of inflation for us, high inflation, and they're worried that it's actually kind of been tempered down in the last few months. And so the worry is that some of the people who have seen 25, 30% increases in prices across, in their lives are going to start seeing those prices even rise higher. But in my opinion, that they haven't been seeing that so far. The inflation has really stayed low these last couple of months. Also big in the news is the AI and tech boom. Doesn't show any signs of stopping. NVIDIA, in fact, passed Microsoft to become the largest capital, the largest valued company in the world. Generative AI keeps boosting, and new companies and new innovations are the uh, the boosting the uh, sorry, they keep boosting, the price of the stock and keep the bull run keeps going on and on. If you look at the chart on the right, you'll see some people smarter than me definitely put this together. Some people from Hofstra University, I guess, professors who have looked at bull runs over the course of history and have kind of seen the similarities and then mapped out on this chart on the right. So where are we on this chart in the AI boom? Maybe the first hump, maybe the second hump towards the top. You can see when the public gets involved, it really sees a lot of spikes up and down. But what's really important on this chart is if you look at the mean, it's kind of like a steady climb up. So that basically means, investing over time, the mean will keep going up, and you know, you don't have to really worry about the ups and downs of participating in the bull run. As long as you buy and hold over time, you'll win out. That's the theory, anyways. As far as geopolitical tensions, that's the one thing that throws a monkey wrench in all these charting and patterns. It's kind of the wild card in the situation. I think for right now, I think Trump is, you know, he can put he he has typically not been a war hawk, and I think he'll try to make deals with people. But yeah, he does tend to inflame situations, but then he'll try to deal his way out of them. So we can just cross our fingers on that and hope that no war, significant wars come to fruition. But in these times of geopolitical tensions, U.S. equities have always remained attractive. It's kind of like the safe harbor due to the strength of the dollar, due to the historical returns, over many decades. So U.S. equities still remain attractive no matter what's happening geopolitically. So as far as Indian investors, what's the trends look like for you guys, for people in India? Well, there's a rising participation in Indian investors. 2 lakh Indians have added to have been investing, have been increasing. Even invested, we've seen, few hundred clients are utilizing their full 250 LRS limits on an annual basis, which is great for us. And the typical Indian has about 20% of its overall portfolio invested globally, 80% domestically, 20% globally. As far as some of the growing trends for global investments, Vested, apps like Vested are enabling easy onboarding. Fractional shares are bringing the price down on investing and enabling lots of low-cost investing, where in the past you've had to purchase a whole share. Fractionals have really made the market boom. ETFs make it easier to invest without stock-specific knowledge. So now you don't need to dive into a single stock's financials. You can just kind of ride the trend. You can just invest in an index like the S&P fund, or you can do a theme. There's AI ETFs, there's gold ETFs, uh, crypto, cybersecurity, etc. And that makes it easy without having to do individual stock picking. And then institutional investing is increasing all the time. A lot of the sovereign funds are coming into the US market as well as foreign insurance companies. Some of the global initiatives that are coming out that could encourage even more investing globally are some of the new regulations, especially coming out of India and the gift, is they're kind of setting up a framework that's allowing at a gift city, allowing Indian brokers to partner with global brokers more easily and in a more regulated way. So increasing confidence in the market and more global markets, more jurisdictions are allowing fractional investing. More apps are doing integrated Forex solutions. So the movement of money globally is just we're anticipating becoming easier and easier. And then, global and climate change opportunities like solar is really booming as well. And go on to the next slide. What are some of the reasons well, the number one reason to diversify globally is due to performance. So NASDAQ, has outperformed the Nifty in INR, even without depreciation, as well as US dollars. So the 10-year NASDAQ is 16% compared to like 11% on the Nifty. And the 5 year is not as much, but it's also larger. Both the NASDAQ and S&P has beaten the Nifty. So the whole reason why you want to invest globally is to make money. So, yeah. And then, some of the emerging markets are doing very well. There's lots of investments available globally that are top performing. Interesting, India is only 20th this year to date. Colombia, Poland, Czech are some of the high ones. We have ETFs available at Vested for both specific country ETFs. We also have a lot of these countries have stocks that are listed on the New York Stock Exchange on NASDAQ. And so there are some, country-specific stocks available, in Colombia specifically, any of these top countries. Go ahead. So one of the biggest reasons too is also certain themes are not yet available at scale domestically. Um, when you're thinking about, whether you want to invest in Tesla or NVIDIA or for fintech space like CrowdStrike or Coinbase for fintech, CloudStrike for cybersecurity. All those stocks are available, on the U.S. market, and there may not be similar performing or similar, large companies at scale available in the Indian market right now. And probably the biggest reason, or one of the biggest reasons to invest and to diversify globally is INR depreciation. So this, if you look at the chart, that's the how many rupees that it takes, for a dollar exchange. Most all know that it's been going up and up. So just to give you an example, if you had bought $1,000 of stock, of any stock, when 5 years ago, and that stock didn't move one penny and just stayed today you would be able to cash out. So the original $1,000 would have been about 68,000 INR, and now you would be able to cash out at 80,000 INR. And so that's an 18% return. And that's if your stock doesn't move one penny up or down. Um, and so when you think about using that as a shield for global expansion, if you're thinking about migrating to another country to live for a while, permanently or temporarily, or sending your child abroad to study, or for a wedding. I hear Indian weddings can be large and expensive. If you want to save for
Yeah.
that, then a good way to shield and make sure your money doesn't push to diversify U.S. or another country. So with that, I think I will pass it over to Viram if nobody has any questions for the second section, global
Excellent.
investing. Thanks.
Thank you, Scott.
Sure.
And it's a pleasure to be here. And thanks everyone for taking time out, to listen to us. Abhishek, if you want, we could pause and do questions in the interim and then go into the next section.
No, I'll request all the attendees, if you have some questions, please write down. There's a chat column available. Please write down your questions. And I think once, Viram, you are done with your session, then we'll open it for questions. So it's smoother for,
Okay,
for any one of you to take up. Yeah.
perfect. Then
Go ahead, Viram.
uh, yes, diving in. So the next section, Scott kind of talked through what are the latest trends happening in the US. What are the reasons one should look at investing, especially from an Indian perspective? What are some relevant reasons? The next section, we wanted to cover some more operational aspects, a little bit about the solution that Vested and HSL are providing together. What are the other sort of regulatory nuances that you should keep in mind, cost related aspects? So that's what we wanted to share, and then we can do questions after, right? So essentially, HDFC Securities and Vested have partnered together for us together to be able to offer the international markets to all HDFC Securities customers. This slide is just a little bit about us, what we've been doing. We've in fact had the privilege to create a new category in India where we started about 6 years back. A lot of the questions used to be around: is it even legal to invest? Can I invest in international equities? To now, it's very encouraging to see how the questions have changed to, okay, how do I invest? What are things I can look at? So the awareness definitely has grown, and we go home satisfied that we played a little role in that journey. So in terms of our background, we're a FINRA registered broker dealer and a SEC registered RIA. So we essentially got our licenses in the US to start with, and that's where Scott was instrumental for us setting up those licenses in the US, and we wanted to make sure we have a regulatory oversight, so that everything we do is sort of best practices. We are now also looking at setting up shop in Gift City as the regulations frame up there, like Scott was mentioning, and yeah, we've been operating for a while. A lot of things that we had to do were done for the first time in the country, including, if you guys have tried out the solution that we have with HDFC Bank in the money movement under LRS now, first time in the country that it became a few steps, and then a bunch of banks followed suite afterwards. But a lot of innovation that we've done to make the journey end to end seamless, to send money, bring money back as well, because eventually you want to withdraw and bring it back. So all of those things that we've worked on now, more than 5,500 crores that people have trusted with us, and that continues to grow at a fast rate. We have our entities in the US and as well as in India. So kind of this cross-border presence that allows us to keep providing a good service to our customers. And we've worked with multiple partners that has helped us over time, working with all of these large brand names in the Indian domestic markets, HDFC Securities, of course, being one of the largest, right? So that's a little bit about us, and just wanted to talk about what products are available. So we started off primarily looking at US stocks and ETFs, and there's now more than 10,000 US stocks and ETFs available on the Vested platform. Now, what you will see over the next 6 months or so is a lot more different asset classes as well, which will include sort of different geographies as well as different ways to invest. And we are excited for that. Our goal is to provide the best experience to somebody in India wanting to buy global assets, and we will continue to innovate. Of course, everything that is allowed under RBI regulations, under FEMA regulations, is only what we'll do. But within that, whatever we can provide to our customers, we'll continue to do that. So today you have stocks, ETFs. You also have managed portfolios or baskets on the platform. So now we have 17 of them. There are two types. One is a sort of a multi-asset, which is a core portfolio. So if you're just getting started, this is one way to quickly begin your journey investing. And then there are certain themes. So we just recently launched artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, AI, all relevant themes in today's age. So if you believe in one of these themes and you don't want to go about finding the best company, these are ways to get started in a very easy manner. This is managed by our investment advisor license, right? So I saw a question around, are there PMS offerings? So this is exactly, very similar to a PMS offering where it's a portfolio that you can buy into, and there will be rebalances that will be happening at a regular interval, and so that you don't need to worry about how to invest. So these two are already live, and oops, sorry. Excitingly, what is coming next are three more asset classes. So one, we'll be looking at offering pre-IPO investment opportunities. So Scott mentioned about this entire, AI as a theme. A lot of companies in the AI space now coming up and doing phenomenally well, but they're not available in the public markets yet, in the US as well. But what we are looking to do is set up pre-IPO opportunities for you to get access to, let's say, a company like OpenAI. We just did a pilot now recently with SpaceX, and the response was phenomenal. So we'll be doing another one there and opening it up to a wider audience as well. So that is coming up. Global mutual funds is something that we will be looking at. So, of course, we are all familiar with mutual funds, more than ETFs yet, I would say. So that was something we wanted to add. And mutual funds also, if somebody is aware of the estate tax related challenges, these are domiciled in Ireland and Luxembourg. So that estate tax issue also gets solved for a lot of large accounts. And lastly, bonds, treasuries, something that customers have also asked us for, and that is also coming up. So, a holistic platform for you to build a globally diversified portfolio is what we want to enable. Knowing fairly well that, of course, majority of your portfolio will be domestic. That is, of course, that's what we're more familiar with. But some part of diversification should be there, and that's what we want to help with. Cool. So in terms of, just quickly want to walk you through the journey now. When we started, it was such a painful process to open up a account used to take 4 or 5 days. Then to transfer money, you would have to fill up a 5-page paper form. Somebody would come pick it up, then submit it, and then money would go 3 days later. You would have no idea how to file taxes. All of those things were issues, and one by one we've looked to solve them. So now your account opening KYC is all online. We have our own in-house KYC and AML processes. Takes about 3 to 5 minutes to submit, and about 95% accounts get approved instantly. Post that, you can easily load money. So of course, because you're investing internationally, and this entire webinar's theme is dreaming in dollars, so you need to have dollars in your account to be able to invest. And there we have partnered with banks. So as you may know, the LRS, or the Liberalized Remittance Scheme of the RBI, is what governs how much money and for what purpose the money can be sent abroad. So one can send, as of today, $250,000 per individual per year. And that can be for investing, that can be for travel, education, all of those, right? So to get that process for investing simplified, we have partnered with HDFC Bank, Axis, ICICI, a couple of others now, more in the pipeline as well. Another thing I will just mention is, if you're working at a company that is global and has US, well, particularly US listed actually, then you likely have RSUs or ESOPs available. You can also fund your vested account using that. So those are dollars already available, and that is beyond the $250,000 limit. So you can easily fund your account in that as well. And once the money is in, then you can pick how you want to build your portfolio: stocks, ETFs, managed portfolios, or PMSs that we have, which are called vests today, global mutual fund bonds. So pre-IPO, all of these asset classes are available. and then you can keep the money in dollars, buy and sell, and whenever you want to bring the money back, it's a very easy process again now to withdraw. This is a new journey that we've launched. No paper forms, nothing required, and the money's back in your Indian account. And lastly, this is the most frequently asked question, is how do we file taxes? And naturally so, because it's a cumbersome process if you're filing internationally. But we've simplified a lot of the things now. We give you the reports that you can immediately give to your CA, or you can file by yourself as well, as per Indian fiscal year, so April to March, in rupees, so that you don't need to do any conversions, all of those things. So life has become much more simpler for somebody to get started, so there can't be any excuses anymore as to why one has not diversified, right? So that's that. And the other thing, what are the costs involved, right? So we wanted to give you an overview of now how do you look at investing internationally, and what are the costs involved. It does tend to be a little bit more expensive than domestic, because there are additional sort of costs we have to bear on the US side. So it tends to be a bit more expensive. So do keep that in mind when you start. But there are two key components of costs. So one is the typical brokerage that you may pay per trade, and the second aspect is the foreign exchange aspect, which is whenever you're converting money, and you don't need to keep doing it. So first time you deposit, and then maybe you withdraw it 3 years later after you're done investing, right? So during those times, whenever you deposit and withdraw, there is an FX fee that gets charged, right? So this sort of table here shows the brokerages that we have today with our global investing solution. There are different plans. So you have the basic plan, which is completely free. Then you have the silver, gold, and then you have the super gold, which is the sort of one-time fee, and post that for lifetime you can enjoy the lowest 1 cent per share fee, which is barely anything, right? So you can pick what plan you want. And then the other component is the FX component, right? So here there were earlier two aspects where every time you would send money, you would have to pay a fixed fee of 500 to 1,000 rupees. And then when you bring it back, also that was there. Now those fixed fees have been completely eliminated. We've worked hard with banks to eliminate that, make the process seamless. Now what you would be looking at is an FX fees, which is, it will go lower over time, but it sort of plateaus. It doesn't go a lot lower than this. Just worldwide, that is the situation because of all the sort of compliance work that happens when money moves across borders. So today, 1 to 1.5% is what you should look at when you deposit and when you withdraw. So let's say you look at it as a 2% fee that you would pay over 3, 4, 5 years that you're keeping the money in dollars, which if you look at it smartly, it gets offset by the depreciation in a year itself. So just yeah, these are the two fees. Now everything else is taken away. It's much more streamlined. You don't need to worry about anything. No MC, no uh, exchange related fees, all of those things. It's just these two. Great. And the other aspect, just a little bit more detail around taxation. So one is you are opening a US brokerage account. The question always is, are you going to will you have to pay capital gains tax there? The answer is no. There is no capital gain tax payable. Whenever you sign up, we file a form that tells the IRS in the US that you are a non-US resident, and then there is no capital gain deduction that happens in the US. Your capital gains will be in India, and as of the last sort of budget, things got much more streamlined. It is 2 years, which is a long-term threshold, and post 2 years, it's 12.5%, and then short-term is as per your income tax lab. Dividends are basically there is a tax withholding for dividends. So there's a 25% tax deduction at source in the US, but you can take credit for it when you file for your taxes in India because of the double tax avoidance between India and US. So that's just something you can keep in mind. Great. So those were all the operational aspects we wanted to quickly cover, and hoping that this gave you a flavor of what it entails to get started with global investing. It's pretty seamless. So you can give it a shot quickly and get started in a day itself.
Thanks, Viram. That was quick and brief. So while I was going through the questions, a lot of questions were around taxation. So anyways, taxation you have covered. But first thing first is why one should open an account. Any investor who is exposed in India should look at to diversify. That's the core reason why one should explore global investing. And diversification also comes with returns. That itself in itself is a great opportunity. Lastly, we have a lot of people in India who are aspiring to have their children settling outside. Scott talked about our marriage, the kind of money we spend on marriages. Yes, we love to do that. We'll continue to do that for that matter. And and then yes, because of the kind of unique opportunities which global investing or global market presents. Just to share, as of like today's news, people are talking about crude oil, looking at the tension which has happened between Israel and Iran. Yes, there is a ETF available which is called Ultra Bloomberg Crude Oil Index, which you can buy only at the US market. If any investor who is looking ahead to invest in robotics and AI, yes, there is an ETF available. If any investor is looking ahead to invest in Japan, I don't think so. There is any other option but to go to US and open and invest in Japan MSCI ETF. If an investor is looking at to invest in US aerospace, or for that matter, simple treasury bonds of US, which are yielding around 4.2, 4.5 in dollar denominated terms, yes, US is also available in the form of ETFs. So that's the why about it. How is all the investors who are there? You can log into your net bank, you can log into your mobile app or the website of HDFC Securities, either Invest Right or Sky app. There is a link to open a global investing account, and that's where the journey starts. And it takes hardly 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how quickly you feed in the data, and then it is being verified. Uh, and that's it. That's the first step to open an account. Now there were questions on tax, which I believe has been already been covered. There were questions on charges. I think that is also being covered. More importantly, what I wanted to talk to you, Viram, is about NRIs. There were questions on NRIs and how much they can invest in and how they can participate. And what about an NRI or a US citizen? Viram, if you
Yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah, excellent. Actually, that is a great point. I saw a lot of questions around it. And so, interestingly, today we have customers, NRI customers from 60 countries that use our platform. And
Wow.
it is phenomenal how worldwide there is interest in global diversification. And a lot of, NRIs in multiple countries are sort of using the platform to diversify. So the process stays the same. The KYC process is still streamlined. We have a global KYC also, which you can use and get onboarded and open a brokerage account. The pricing is a little bit different. So when you go to the global investing website on the HDFC sec.com link, there you'll see the NRI pricing as well. So just that is something to keep in mind. And the second thing is the money movement. So let's say, for example, if you're living in the UAE, then you may have dollar accounts already which you can use to wire. So along with our bank partnerships in India, what we do is we give an option uh, to basically see wire details. So you can send, there's a unique virtual account for your account, so you can basically wire in money there. You can either wire it in already existing dollars if you have a global account already, or you can convert it from whatever your local currency is. So that option is also there, and then the withdrawal, we'll send it back to you in your local currency, so that we can do, or in dollars, however you want it. So those are the only changes. Otherwise, all of these products are available to NRIs globally as well. And today we see a lot of interest from UAE, Singapore, Middle East in general, actually, the US as well. So even folks living in the US can sign up and get onboarded because of our US licenses. So yeah, anyone pretty much across the world can get onboarded.
So there's a follow-up question for NRIs that they have to declare taxation in both the countries.
It's the same. So it's the same as India, where in the US you don't need to declare any sort of capital gains or pay any capital gains. Essentially, any non-US resident does not have to pay any capital gains. It is then as per your country of residency or tax residency. So if you're a UAE tax resident, you may not have capital gains, right? Because there are none there. If you're an Indian tax resident, then you have to follow the long term, short term. So, based on where you're living, it'll be as per that. There's nothing in the US that you need to do additionally, because we file it's a W8 form, which is the non-US sort of account form.
Great, great. So there were questions on do we get a relationship manager? I believe you need a relationship manager for supporting in terms of your queries. So yes, we have not probably an HDFC Securities relationship manager there, but yes, we have a customer team who engages with you to help you in terms of your day-to-day transactions. Also, if you need more onboarding, more help in terms of navigating through the website, understanding more about it. Yes, there is team available. So you can inform to the customer service of HDFC Securities or your relationship manager that you want to know more about how to navigate through global investing and what all we can do. That is available. More importantly, I think there were questions about research. Primarily, why we are looking forward for investing is to have diversification, is to have great opportunities which are not available in India. And yes, you can find out, you can do your own research. There is a lot of information available. Just for an example, you pick up any stock, take example Apple. You pick up Apple, though you see the performance in terms of chart, but yes, there is data available for you to see which all there are multiple brokerages houses in US who are bullish, who are bearish on this particular stock, and that also you can see and read about. So that is something which is an advantage. If you are a fresh investor, first time investing, probably I'll recommend you can look at West, which is a curated baskets. There are multiple baskets as Viram briefed about, and probably you can identify the sector and then participate. That will help you to A, diversify within that sector, and B, not to get trapped into a company which you may not be fully very aware of, and to understand that more. So vests are available. There are predefined ETFs, which anyways the name clearly explains what they are. There are exchange traded funds. You can participate out there. Lastly, obviously for long-term wealth creation, you can pick up any stocks and all that. So there are 10,000 opportunities listed in US and it's growing. And that's where we look at you to participate. There is a very long question out there in the chat box, and I need a pause to read it, or Viram, you can go through it. By the time I'll continue my talking. So, in fact, one thing which also wanted to address is $250,000 is the limit which is prescribed for LRS for Indian citizen. It is a limit per financial year. So whatever you do this financial year, probably on 1st of April, again, the limit resets. And if it is a family account, so husband, wife, both $250,000 makes it $500,000, which you can remit as a family. And if you have more, above 18 members, yes, you can do that more. Yeah, Viram, I think, were you able to go through this?
Yes. I can quickly address it.
Yeah, please.
Yes. So first one on TCS, on LRS. So yes, TCS is applicable. The limit got increased from 7 lakhs to 10 lakhs last year. So now above 10 lakhs, there is a TCS of 20% that is deducted. And two ways one can offset it. So if you're paying advance tax, then you can offset your advance tax obligations against this. So it's not an additional tax per se, unlike the other 3.5% that Trump is proposing, which also I saw a question around, which doesn't impact investment flows. So we are good for now. But TCS is more for sort of an advanced tax obligation collection, and you can offset it against your other tax liabilities. And so above 10 lakhs, you can offset it against your advanced tax obligations, or even now you can offset it against your salary TDS. So there is a form 12BAA that you can submit to your employer, and the basically your monthly TDS that gets deducted will reduce if you've already paid TCS. So that was the first question. The second is, once the funds are moved, is there any restriction of idling funds to be moved back to it? Oh, no. So there is no such restriction. Once your funds are in dollars, it will stay there in dollars. You can buy, sell however you want. It will not be immediately withdrawn back, like in India. And for F&O allowed for resident Indians, so that today is not allowed. So derivative products are not allowed under FEMA in international markets. So no F&O that we provide. NRIs, we don't provide F&O today, but NRIs can look at F&O.
In fact, there are some more questions on Google, so I'll probably touch base with them. Corporate bonds for India and US. Yes, India corporate bonds. Anybody who wants to invest, yes, you can invest through HSL app only. There is a section called corporate bonds, and you can participate. These are corporate bonds in India. Corporate bonds in US, I believe. That's a very long shot which you are trying to make. I'll recommend go for treasury bonds because that's where the safety is. But currently, those are the things which are available, and they are available at different maturities. So you want a 10-year paper or a shorter year paper. So that's a list of corporate debt ETFs which are available on the treasury side that you can definitely participate. Then in terms of taxation, yeah, one more thing which I just wanted to add on to what Viram has said, that in terms of TCS, if I think most of the people, I'll dissect into two parts. One is all the taxpayers who are salaried. If you are paying advance tax, yes, you can you can exclude the amount which you have already paid as a TCS and then pay your advance taxes. I believe most of you will be paying advance taxes. Secondly, if you are into business, then definitely in your quarterly filing, you can deduct this TCS. So you are not paying something and the credit is not coming late. You can immediately settle every quarter while paying taxes in India. There's one question on calendar year. Please note, you don't have to follow US calendar year. It's Indian calendar year. That is good for you. Short term, long term is all basis Indian. 24 months below is short term. Beyond 24 months is long term. That's a very simple approach. The way we do for anything other than equity in India. This is the same taxation for anything other than listed equity in India. Below 24 months short term 20% as per your tax slab, and then above 24 months it is 12.5%. That's the tax. Yeah. Then multi-asset funds, yes, there are multi-asset funds. Oh, there is a plethora of such funds, and I believe there are West also. Viram, can you talk a bit more on the West which are available, because I believe there are couple of participants who are new and who wants to taste it. I think West is the better way to taste the US market rather than directly a single stock. If you can throw some light on that.
Yeah. So essentially, these portfolios or vests, there are two types today, and we are adding more and more. So there are about 17 that we have. One type is a core portfolio, which is three: conservative, moderate, and aggressive. And the core portfolio itself consists of global equity, so emerging markets, developed markets, US, and then global bonds. So it's a simple sort of equity bond portfolio, but with global exposure. So you can pick one of those based on your risk profile to start with. And then if you are a believer in certain themes, so we then have certain thematic portfolios. So space tech is one very interesting one. If you go on the platform, you'll see it. Then there is cybersecurity, which we recently launched. One which is Moat, which includes a lot of the global brands that you find on the US markets. So both of these kind of will give you a good sort of portfolio to create, one which is core supplemented with some thematic, will get you started internationally. And then as you do more research, you can pick ETFs, funds, or stocks that depending on your research.
In terms of compliances, I don't think so. There is anything else unless you declare that you are investing globally. You need to inform your CA about it and in your net worth. And then whenever, as soon as you withdraw something, there is some appreciation which has been booked, you need to pay tax accordingly. And the process for moving the funds. So as you go on our app, I say InvestRight app, you go to West through that you go to Wested. Once you register yourself, as you can choose your bank account and do the transfer. It's all seamlessly on a single day. You can transfer $25,000 on a single day, on a single click. If you want to do a larger sum of transfer on the same day basis, you can take help of your bank relationship manager, or you can take a pause. You can do the very next day. So currently the system allows you to transfer $25,000 in a single go. Hope I am right, Viram.
Yeah. One transaction is 25K. I think you can do multiple 25K transactions in a day, but online one transaction is limited to 25K. And then the reverse also is all online. There's no form submission, all of that required anymore. So and there is no limit. You can bring back all of the money if you want in one go. I think there's one question around security of our investments on the Q&A section, Abhishek. Maybe Scott, you want to talk about the SIPC insurance in the US?
Yeah, you go
Yeah,
ahead.
so uh, every account at DriveWealth has, well, DriveWealth's our clearing firm that we use for custody. And through them, we have SIPC insurance, which is government, the US government insurance on every account. And it's 250,000 per account dollars are protected if the custodian goes out of business. So I think it's 100,000 in cash. It might even be 500,000 now in
Yeah,
securities.
higher. Yeah.
500,000 in securities now. So your holdings are protected up to 500 and your cash 100,000
Yeah.
by the
So
government.
that's the worst case that insurance is available. But having said that, you're working with all regulated entities here. So there are multiple layers of protection that you get for your investments.
Yeah, in fact, I think the SIPC's only paid out, I want to say one time in the last 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
Well, I think that gives a lot of confidence that yes, you are working with the regulated entities here and the US. So one doesn't have to really worry about the safety of the money. That's the last thing
Right.
which should come in your mind while investing globally. Uh, uh, in fact, there are some questions on YouTube. I'm taking some, which is can we buy on credit? No, credit is not allowed for Indian citizens, and that's how future and options is also not allowed for Indian citizens to participate in US market. If you are an NRI or not based in India, then definitely you can participate in the FNO and the credit side. Okay, I think there was some little fun. Can I buy ETF of Karachi ETF? I don't think so. People will look forward for that investment, but sorry, you need to really search about it. So minimum investments. Oh yes, this is important. Viram, what's the minimum investment one has to look forward to invest into?
Yeah, I mean, no minimum that we enforce at all. So anyone can start building their journey from $100, $500, and sort of grow. And I mean, we've seen people across the entire from starting from hundreds of $1,000 to $200. So it's more about just making this accessible to individual investors, and depending on the risk appetite, people can start.
Okay, and FEMA limit to buy stocks at a time and in total. So there's nothing in terms of total at a time. Obviously, you can buy, you can transfer to $50,000. So that is the maximum you can buy it for, and you can keep on accumulating as much as you want. There's no limit on that. So if you are young, 35, 30, probably you have a long age, and you can keep on adding there. There's no limit in terms of how much you can you can have there. But yes, obviously, how much you can transfer is to $50,000. That is as per present norms. If things goes good, we have good balances. Probably this may go up. So that as in when it goes, but currently it is to $50,000 is what you can buy. You can buy stocks, ETF, or combination of each and any. It is immaterial. Whatever you want to buy, you can buy. Uh, Nomination, yes, that's very important, Viram. This is something which it's very close to heart. How the entire nomination process goes, and how do we nominate, and is that nomination valid? And
Yeah. So essentially, I think in the US parlance, it's called a beneficiary. So we when you come onto the app and open an account, there is an option to be able to add a beneficiary, and it's a pretty seamless, simple process. So you'll see it on the website once you've started investing. You'll see an option to add manage beneficiary. So just please do make sure to add somebody there. And in fact, along those lines, I saw a couple of questions around estate tax as well. So just wanted to talk about that as well. So essentially, non-US residents, in case of any demise, there is a estate tax that becomes applicable of I think 40% above a certain portfolio threshold. I think $60,000. But one can invest in non-US equities or sort of non-US domiciled funds, which we'll make available to avoid that if they want, or make sure that there is somebody who can manage the account as well along with you. Think of yeah.
Yeah. So I think there is some more clarity required on the brokerage and the charges, because I don't know, people continue to asking about charges. So Viram, can you just refresh on the charges, or you can go to that page and talk about it, whatever is okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. There's no additional charge beyond this. It is all no separate sort of additional cost per share, all of those things. These are the per trade costs, and then if you take a gold or super gold plan, it changes to a 1 cent per share. And oops, sorry. And so those are the only brokerage charges. There's nothing additional. And then on the FX side, that is something you should be aware of, because there is currency conversion happening. There's no fixed fee, but banks tend to charge an FX markup, and so those what we've done is we've negotiated them to much lower than what is typically available. But 1 to 1.5%, what you should keep in mind, it changes as per the bank and the day during the day as well. But yeah, that's what it is.
One interesting question, Viram, is on the delay in execution trade, because it's assumed to be a very long distance trade. So, but in terms
No, it
of
is all
speed of execution.
all instant. Today's world, fortunately, we are all connected by the internet, and everything happens in milliseconds. So on the app, the US market opens at, what is it, 7 p.m. IST, I think, 9:30 a.m. EST. And so post that, as soon as you place a trade, it's instantly executed. And in fact, you have pre-market hours as well. So I think about 3 hours before that, also you can place trade and and those get executed in extended hours. There tends to be some delay because the volumes are lesser, but otherwise volumes are massive in the US markets. And it is a T+1 settlement. So I think that's another important thing to keep in mind, that yeah, anything you buy, sell, the next day it'll get settled.
Right, right. In fact, there was one question on crypto. So please note, yes, there is a Bitcoin West available. So if you want to taste that, that is also one thing which is available. The 1 year performance has been around 20% in dollar terms. So yes, it is doing decent. So NRI bank account will be opened. So we are not opening NRI bank account. So you need to have you already need to have an account with us, so to proceed. So Viram, am I right?
Yeah. So once that's done, then you can just simply click on global investing on the app, and you'll be all set to go. No other bank accounts to be opened from our end.
Yes, so all US scripts will be available on HDFC platform. Yes, HDFC platform. There's a link as you open the app. There's a link called Global Investing. There's a tab. You tap there, and then you can see the plethora of US scripts, and you can do your own research and find. You can go on the web or on the app. That's all on your comfort. I think we have been able to cover up mostly all the questions.
There's one more question, Abhishek, that I see, which is can money be transferred from Fidelity to Vested directly? And what is the process? So maybe I can just quickly address
Sure,
that.
please, yeah.
So yeah, so that's a good question, and that can be done. So once you go open your account and you go to the transfer section, you will see a sort of an ESOP RSU transfer section, which if you click on, there are different brokers, which is Fidelity, E-Trade, Morgan Stanley, and just click on Fidelity and you'll get all the instructions to transfer. It's a pretty seamless process. You'll have to initiate it from the sort of US broker, whichever it is, and it takes about 1 to 2 business days for it to reflect. But you can, in fact, quite a few folks do that and get started pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'll take the last question, which is again on taxation for NRIs to disclose US trades to IT department.
In
I
India, no, not really, not needed. This will be as per wherever their tax resident.
Right. So I know there will be still some more questions left in your mind, or probably which may pop up after say half an hour or so. Please just touch base with your relationship manager or write to our customer service. You can approach us, go on our app, and you can find a lot of questions and answers there. There are a lot of videos. In fact, some of the clients have asked about what is the learning videos. Yes, there are videos available on global investing. Uh, you can search them on YouTube, HDFC, and global investing. So you can find that. And invariably, the more shorter way you can touch base with your relationship manager or a customer service team, and we'll be happy to reach out to you. We have a team out here. So Vested has a team in India, both on the customer service side and both on the and on the relationship side. So they'll be happy to meet you, help you to navigate through the app, help you to probably place your first order if you need some assistance out there, and definitely for long-term wealth creation. Obviously, you will have HDFC Bank RM or HDFC Securities relationship manager attached to you. You can just give them a shout or a message, and they will be happy to help you to complete the entire process, right from transferring of funds to investing and guiding further. I thank Scott and thanks Viram for taking out time. I know we are a little ahead of schedule, but definitely uh, it's a pleasure talking to you, and looking forward for more such interactions, and more probably we will have one more session in terms of only investment ideas. I know because what we are trying to teach is the entire journey, and there are clients who also want to see what all they can make in for. But to all the investors who have joined, if you have been investing time and again, you would have seen the way the US mother market has been performing and has been resilient, and how the entire world is glued to the global market. So if somebody has to really diversify, that's the place to be. And we are happy to be in your journey, a part of your journey in terms of making money. Thank you, everyone. And thanks, Viram. Thanks, Scott.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thanks,
Have a
Abhishek, and
great
thanks,
day.
Thank
thanks
you.
everyone for attending.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.